Two baseball programs out of the Lone Star State, separated by just 200 miles, are also now separated by just one game in the Big 12 Conference standings. Welcome in, everyone, to Inside the Big 12. I'm your host, Morgan Uber. The race for the Big 12 regular season crown between TCU and Texas all comes down to what happens this weekend. The Horned Frogs are looking for their first Big 12 regular season championship since 2017. They had the chance to lock it up last weekend against Texas, but ended up dropping that series at home 2-1. Now, TCU has to go on the road to face Kansas State in a 3-game series, while Texas, on the other hand, will be hosting West Virginia. Joining me now in the Big 12 studios to talk about the highs and lows and everything in between for TCU baseball this season is their senior catcher, Zach Humphreys. Zach, this team came up just short of clinching a Big 12 regular season title. How did you and your teammates come out of that series loss to Texas and turn the page?
Yeah, and I mean, it was tough losing this series like that, especially in front of your home crowd. And we had a really good crowd the whole weekend. But the message that our coach was telling us the only thing that matters next is how you respond. And so, I mean, sadly, we didn't get to play on Tuesday. Our game got canceled, so we've been having to wait a whole week with this taste in our mouths of losing that series. But we're just ready to get back out on the field.
As a captain and leader of this team, what was your message to your teammates after a series loss like that?
My message was kind of like, if we want to go the places where we want to go, we've got to win these kind of games. And it was good to finally kind of get that introduction for the guys who had never been a part of a game or a series like that. And so now they kind of get that understanding of that feeling of how that environment is. And so that way when we get into the future, we'll be able to handle it better. But we all know where we want to go, and it's pretty much just how we respond to that.
Your head coach, Jim Schlossnagle, has said that he needs to see more consistency on the mound. With just being a few weeks away from a regional, what improvements are you seeing that gives you confidence that these pitchers are going to be ready?
Well, I've seen guys that haven't thrown that much in the beginning of the year that have stepped up in big situations for us when we really needed them to. I mean, whether it be freshmen or sophomores or guys with little to no college experience at all, when their number's been called, they've came in and they've picked up the slack from where some of our other pitchers have let them have it.
With expanded rosters due to COVID, your team's used 18 different pitchers. As catcher, how unique does that make your job?
It's been pretty awesome because, usually you have about 7 or 8 guys that you get to know, and that's who you work with for the majority of the season. But with all these young guys and us using multiple pitchers, you really have to learn and kind of just get to know these guys on a deeper basis rather than just baseball. Because when you get into a tough situation, you got to kind of know how to communicate with them and what makes them tick. And so just getting to know the guys on the team at a more deeper level has been pretty awesome.
You mentioned communication. Having been a 5-year starter, how does that experience help you in effectively being able to communicate with all of these different pitchers?
I mean, it's helped a ton. And I think I can attest most of it too, just from as I'm coming through the program, all the older guys, the seniors throughout my years, I've watched what they've done and I've learned from them. My freshman year, I watched Evan Scalk, how he handled pitchers, and I got to watch him work with Brian Howard or Jared Janzak. And just as I've been through the program, I get to watch how those older guys handle those situations, and I can kind of just take and choose what they do and kind of do it, mix it in what I do as well.
One pitcher who you've been around now for 5 seasons, reliever Hal Green, has 9 saves on the season. How clutch has he been in helping you close out some of those tight games?
He's awesome. I mean, I would say he's the backbone of our team. Even if he's not pitching, he's in the dugout. He's getting everyone going. But it's crazy because when you look at the guy, you wouldn't think he would be this just overpowering pitcher, but then he gets out there and he has a kind of swagger to him that he's better than any batter he's going to face. And everyone on the team is behind him, and we have the utmost confidence in everything he does. And we know when he comes in the game, we're in a very good situation.
At the plate, this team has been ranked in the top 5 in the country in runs scored, as high as number 1 at one point. What makes this lineup 1 through 9 so consistent?
I think we've all just kind of bought into the approach that Coach Mo has just been preaching to us over and over and over again. Coach Mosiello is one of the best offensive minds that I've ever seen in baseball, and we've heard from many other people the same thing. And so we've all just kind of bought into this approach that he's taught us, and we all know that we're a group of good hitters. And so even if one of us doesn't get it done, the person behind us is going to pick us up and get it done. So it kind of creates this relaxed feeling with the lineup where there's not too much pressure on one specific guy, but we know where everybody in the lineup can do damage at any time.
Without giving too much away, what's that approach?
Be ready to hit the fastball. If you're ready to hit the fastball, you'll be on time to hit anything else they throw at you. It's as simple as that.
You're having your best season at the plate, batting .319. What's been the biggest factor contributing to your success?
I would say the biggest factor for me is just being more aggressive at the plate. Like over my years, I'd have been a very patient, very passive hitter. and I would kind of get myself into holes where I have two strikes early in the count rather than taking pitches that I should have swung at. And so just this year, I've just kind of had the mentality of, you know what, I'm not going to leave anything out or not going to leave anything behind. I'm just going to do what I do and be more aggressive when I come to the plate. And it's really worked out for me. And I get myself in good situations, good counts to hit it.
When you made the announcement that you would return for the 2021 season, exactly 1 year ago to the very day, Zach, what were you hoping to accomplish?
They always say you want to leave the jersey better than you found it. And that's basically what I want to do. I wanted to leave my mark on TCU better than I found it.
You were a part of this special 2017 team, just 3 wins away from a national championship. With high expectations this postseason, what can you take away from that College World Series run?
I can just think what I can take from that is just how big the situation, how I thought it was when I was there as a freshman. I thought it was just this big old situation with tons of fans, but when in reality, it's just a baseball game. And it's the same game that we've all played. And so even though the crowds may be bigger or the environment may be bigger, it's nothing different than you've been doing your whole life. And that's what we just try and tell everyone who hasn't experienced that it's the same game of baseball. It's 60 feet, 6 inches. The bases are 90 feet away. Don't try and do too much and just play like you always have been.
Why does this team have what it takes to make a deep run in the College World Series?
I think the best characteristic of this team is not even baseball related. It is just the camaraderie that we have between the team. It is one of the closest group of guys that I've ever been a part of with any kind of team. And I think that really helps us on the baseball field because we all have trust within each other, but we also have just a ton of fun on the field. And it's just a very relaxed atmosphere. And so it just makes everything easier when we get onto the baseball field. With our team last year, we all knew we had a really good team, but we weren't ever able to show it on kind of a national scale. And so we all kind of came into the season with a chip on our shoulder that we're gonna be in the College World Series and we're gonna be able to show the country what TCU can do with this group of guys who were kind of looked over with at the beginning of the year with all the rankings. So our goal from the beginning has been we're gonna get back to the College World Series and we're gonna do something cool up there.
In addition to your on-field success, you've also had some great achievements off the field, graduating with your master's from TCU. How special was that accomplishment?
It was really awesome. I mean, we had our baseball graduation, and there were I think 11 of us that graduated, and I mean that's an accomplishment in its own to have 11 guys graduating in 1 year. They all came to TCU to get their degree, and we all stayed through with our commitment. We got that, but to be able to get my master's degree from TCU, it's awesome. I mean, it's a great community with a great networking system, and so by being able to come back for my senior year with the COVID stuff and get that master's degree, it really helped me out, and it's gonna jumpstart my life for outside of baseball.
That master's degree, business analytics, with baseball being a very analytical sport, how do the two translate?
You know, it would kind of translate into a little bit more than you would think it was. And I've always thought, like, say baseball doesn't work out for me and I want to stay in baseball, maybe I could try and get a job in an analytics department with a professional team. So the stuff we learned in there has a lot to do with coding and working with large data sets. And so I think it could go hand in hand with how these analytic departments in professional baseball are as well.
Zach, wishing you the best in the business analytics career, baseball career, wherever life takes you. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
On Sunday night, the seeds are going to be locked in for the Big 12 Baseball Championship. You're going to be able to find that information and so much more about the postseason on Big12Sports.com. This has been Inside the Big 12, and I'm Morgan Uber.